giving them proper education, good education, that would enable them to stand on their feet, that would enable them to be competitive. Just imagine if a driver of yours speaks to you in English. Just imagine a situation. A gardener of yours doing the gardening work comes to you and says, "Hello ma'am, how are you doing? What can I do for you?" Your driver comes to you and says, "Yes ma'am, how are you doing? What do you want me to do?" You know, the respect what you show towards the gardener or a driver, the moment he speaks to you in English, is totally different. This is reality. And today what we're doing is, we're changing this education, we're changing this model. We're just not making English medium part of this education system, but we're changing the whole education system itself. English medium, what was not affordable, is now being offered to the downtrodden children at practically zero cost. The government schools today offer zero cost education. So we are practically offering the downtrodden children English medium education at practically zero cost. This is the aspiration of the people. Now what we are doing to bring about this change is just not English medium alone. What we're doing is 1 to 6, 6th class. This year we're starting in English medium. Mind you, we're just not doing English medium alone. We're making Telugu compulsory subject. Telugu is a compulsory subject. I'd like to stress this point. Not only in Telugu, not only in government schools, but also in private schools as well. So far Telugu was never made compulsory subject, but we're insisting that Telugu be made compulsory subject even in private schools as well as government schools. So somebody comes to me and says, "We are against Telugu," then I like them to retract those words. So what we're doing is 1 to 6, we're making sure English medium is introduced. 7th class next year, 8th class subsequent year, 9th class a year later, 10th a year later. So in 4 years' time, the children would practically be appearing for their board exams in English. So we have a 4-year window. This 4-year window, we will fight with any of these teething problems what would come up. I do understand we have teething problems. We will have to overcome the teachers' training as well, where bridge courses would be available. Teacher training programs to the children, bridge courses to the teachers training programs. All these things would become part and parcel of our journey. But we have 4 years' time. If we don't take the initiative now, this 4 years would never start. So we've taken the initiative today to start this journey. And we are tying up with the best of the people to evolve the curriculum, tied up with the best of the people to give training to the teachers, tied up with the best of the people to also ensure that bridge courses are also made available to the children. So this is a journey what we've just embarked. So while we do this English medium on one side, we're doing 4 measures in this education sector as far as schools are concerned. One measure is about the English medium. The second, we're talking about Nadu Nedu program, where we're practically talking about 45,000 schools what we have in government sector, where we've taken out these photographs of these schools, showing them as schools as they stand today. That is Nadu. Nadu. Then we're going to revamp these schools in 3 phases. 15,000 schools in every phase. In 3 years' time, we're going to show them. We're going to show the photographs after we revamp these schools and say as Nedu. What we're going to do in these schools, government schools, is the basic facilities what every school should have. Be it bathrooms, be it drinking water, clean drinking water, be it compound wall, be it furniture, be it fans, be it blackboards, be it painting, be it finishing, and also English lab in every school. These 9, we're making sure that every school does possess. So the quality of schools are being enhanced by this program. It's a huge program what we have embarked on. We've taken 3 years' time. The first phase, we started the journey this year, revamping 15,750 schools this year. The third program, what we're doing to make sure the quality of education is enhanced, is improving the quality of midday meal. The midday meal quality was so pathetic. I've noticed this when I've embarked on a Padayatra which went on for 14 months, 3,600 odd kilometers. I've practically seen it. We are making sure that the quality of the midday meal is enhanced. Not only are we improving the quality of the midday meal, but we're making sure that there's no corruption there. So the ayahs are given better salaries than what they were given earlier. Other than that, we're also making changes in the menu that children need not eat the same food every day, but every day the children have a different menu, starting from Monday to Saturday. So the quality of the food is also enhanced so as to motivate the children and also to give them a better food, more nutritious food. This is the third thing that we're doing. Then the fourth is we are motivating the mothers. Every mother who sends their children to school. We've just finished this program for this year. We've given 42 lakh mothers, covering almost 81 lakh 77,000 children in the state of Andhra Pradesh. 42 lakh 13,000 mothers are given 15,000 rupees per annum. We just finished the program. Their duty is to send their children to school. And if they were to send their children to school, mothers would be given 15,000 rupees by the state government. Second year onwards, we're insisting on attendance. This year we did not insist on attendance because this is the first time we're giving them this money as a motivation factor. Second year onwards, we're going to insist on 75% attendance from these mothers. So what this would do is this would totally change the complexion of this education society itself. Every child would now start going to schools. Every child would be trained in English. Every child would start to learn speaking in English at that tender age. Somebody starts off English at that age, then the accent changes. Everything becomes polished. If you were to take a dive at a later stage of your life, then the accent also doesn't change. For children to be polished, for children to be better equipped, we're trying to do everything what needs to be done. Now, this is as far as education up to 12th is concerned. Now moving further, as I've just spoken about GER ratio, where the dropouts beyond intermediate, the numbers what I just spoke about, that we have only 23% of the children actually being enrolled for their higher education beyond intermediate. Now we're changing this as well. We're bringing about a curriculum change where henceforth, starting this year, the degree would not be a 3-year course. It would be a 4-year course which would say degree honors, BCom honors. Engineering would not be 4-year course, but engineering would be a 5-year course which would say BTech honors, where 1 year would be internship, mandatory internship, apprenticeship. We're making sure that the entire curriculum becomes job-oriented curriculum. Because currently there is a mismatch. What you study, what you come out of the college, and what is expected of you in job. So we're making sure that this curriculum becomes more job-oriented. So that curriculum change we're bringing about. And other than that, we're making sure that these GER numbers change. So if these GER numbers are to change, then what we're supposed to be doing, we're trying to do that. We're making sure that the entire fees reimbursement, 100% fees reimbursement is given to these children. So the children need not, the parents need not be worried about sending their children to school and having to go into debts for that. So we're making sure that these children are given education free of cost. Just not that, we're also making sure that for their boarding and lodging, for their mess charges and their boarding charges, the children are not, even for that 20,000 rupees also, I've seen a lot of parents go through difficult times. To change that, we're making sure that we give 20,000 rupees to every child for their boarding and mess charges. 10,000 rupees would be given in this month of February, Jan, Feb. In July, August, we're going to give another 10,000 rupees. So we've named it as Vidya Devana and Vasati Devana, along with bringing about this curriculum changes in this bracket of higher education as well. So all this put together, what I see Andhra Pradesh would be one state where every child would be gifted with an asset, a quality asset in the form of education. And with this asset, they would be empowered to elevate their living standards from the current BPL level, below poverty line, to above poverty line level. So these are the changes what we're going to bring about, and God willing, with God's grace and of course support from like-minded people, I'm hopeful that we will bring about these revolutionary changes. And I thank Hindu newspaper for coming forward and extending their support to this endeavor. Because the reason is, even though this is good, even though this is required for the society, yet you have few of the people throwing stones. Unfortunate, very unfortunate this is. But I just repeatedly say just one thing to these people who are trying to throw stones. With no disrespect, of course, to anybody, any of them. I just ask one simple question. Where do you send your children to school? Or where do you send your grandchildren to school? If you send your children or grandchildren to Telugu medium, then you ask for Telugu medium. If you're not sending your children and grandchildren to Telugu medium, then please do not insist that we don't take up this road to change the lives of these downtrodden people. That's all what I ask those people who try to throw stones at what we're trying to do. And of course, to one other question what myself and Ram Garu, while we were having breakfast, one other interesting topic came up. In fact, he wanted me to share those views as well in this forum, that is concerning the capital. Well, it was a very interesting conversation what we had there. I just asked him a few questions. I just said, see, being in the Chief Minister's post, it gives you a tremendous amount of power, and along with that, there's tremendous responsibility on your shoulders. Few decisions what you take impact the next generation, and few decisions that you don't take also impact few generations. As I just spoke about English medium a while ago, decisions if you do not take, what kind of impact it would have on next generations. Similarly, this decision to have 3 capitals, if you do not take, will also have an impact on the next generation. Because the fact is, the current capital, Amaravati, which is spoken about, it is neither in Vijayawada, neither in Guntur. It is 30-40 kilometers away from Vijayawada or Guntur. It is in a virgin land, away from Vijayawada, 30-40 kilometers, away from Guntur, 30-40 kilometers, in a virgin land. And in fact, if you were to make a visit there, you would probably not even have a 2-lane road there. You would have to go through a single-lane road. Okay, leaving aside the factor that why he chose that land there, because the fact is what everybody in the state are fully aware, that he and his cronies have bought huge chunks of land after he became the Chief Minister and before the announcement of the capital, before these villages came into public domain. After he became the Chief Minister, he and his cronies have bought huge chunks of land here, and then the capital was announced there. Okay, leaving aside that factor, because this happens to be a virgin land, 53,000 acres of land, what was land pooled according to him. Because this is a virgin land with no infrastructure there practically, just to provide for basic infrastructure like roads, drains, electricity, water, and stormwater drains. Just for these basic infrastructure alone, according to the previous government's reports, it costs 2 crores per acre. So 53,000 acres into 2 crores per acre is 1,09,000 crores according to their own report. Just to provide this basic infrastructure because it's a virgin land. And because this is a virgin land, because it requires for this basic infrastructure 1,09,000 crores, how much did the previous government spend in the past 5 years? Interesting question, an interesting answer. You know how much they spent? 5,677 crores alone. Of course, he left me with a baggage of 2,300 crores, what he conveniently pushed on to me, and he said, you pay. Okay, what any government in those 5 years' time, what any government could afford to spend is that number of 5,000 to 6,000 crores. That is the capability of any government to spend. And you know at what cost that money was spent? 10.32% interest borrowings. What we get from central government is peanuts. 1,500 crores came in. And I don't expect anything beyond that to come in. Maybe at best they'll contribute another 1,000 crores. Beyond that, they don't contribute. So everything would have to come with the debt. And this is the interest rate we're paying. And now you tell me, as a father, what would a father do? What would a chief minister do? Today my situation is, I'm sitting down here. There is this Amaravati capital which requires 1,09,000 crores minus 6,000 crores, another 1,03,000 crores to provide for this basic infrastructure. Roads, drains, power and water. And now my ability to put in money is around about 6,000 crores. Or at best 7,000 crores. Even presuming that the borrowings come. Now an investment, the amount what is required is more than 1,00,000 crores. And my ability to put in is around about 5,000-6,000 crores. Wouldn't be, just imagine what it would contribute. It would be like a drop of water in an ocean. It would not even be visible. Whereas Visakhapatnam, Vizag, it's already a #1 city in Andhra Pradesh. It has all the infrastructure already in existence. The roads, the drains, the power, the water, everything. Out of this 1,00,000 crores, even 10% of this amount, if I were to put into Visakhapatnam, Vizag, at least, if not now, if not 5 years, at least in 10 years' time, we would be competing with Hyderabad. We would be competing with Bangalore. We would be competing with Chennai, where children of my state need not go looking for a job to Hyderabad or Bangalore or Chennai, but would have one destination, that is in our own state, our own capital, our own Vizag. Now this is my predicament. What would you do if you were in my shoes? In fact, the decision what we've taken is, we try to make sure that, everybody is happy. We try to make sure that everybody is justified. The seats of governance, we've broken them into 3 parts. And we said Amaravati would continue to have a legislative assembly. It would continue to be a legislative capital. So we're not depriving it of anything. It would continue. And the growth would take place in due course of time. As and when the natural course, the growth would take place. So this would continue to be a legislative capital, where the assembly would be held 60 days or 70 days or whatever. The entire legislators would come here, sit down here, spend the 60, 70 days here, and be here. It would continue to be the legislative assembly. While Vizag, the #1 city currently in Andhra Pradesh, would become the executive capital, where the chief minister sits, where the ministers sit, where the secretariat operates, where the HODs, head of the departments, operate, where there is a proper infrastructure already in existence. So executive capital happens to be there. Then the third seat of governance, that is the judicial. There we made sure that judicial also goes to Rayalaseema, Kurnool, which was, ironically, I don't know if many of you would remember or not, but Kurnool happened to be the capital of Andhra Pradesh from 1953 to 1956. When the state of Andhra Pradesh was carved out, way back in 1937 itself, prior to independence, when we were part of Tamil Nadu, when Telugu people wanted a different state, it was agreed upon, an agreement entered into, that Kurnool there was an agreement by name Shribag Pact was entered into, where in those days itself, elders in those days have decided that decentralization should take place and seats of governance should be split. And in accordance with that agreement, from 1953 to 1956, Kurnool was the capital of Andhra Pradesh. And to give it its due share, we made sure that judicial capital starts functioning from there. So what we have done is not do any injustice to any part of the state. What we have done is, while we do justice here, justice is imparted to other parts of the state as well. And this we've taken a cautious decision because we would want to see ourselves somewhere. If I am the Chief Minister of a state, I am answerable to the next generation. And the next generation expects jobs, expects an engine of growth. They want a pride. They come out of the college, a degree in their hands, looking for a job. Where do they go? Today my situation is, I do not have the funds to complete a grandiose capital like Amaravati. And if I were to yield to the so-called critics and not go ahead with the shifting plans of Vizag, then that means I would not be investing in Visakhapatnam, Vizag, which just takes 10% of my costs. Then what would I do after 5 years down the line? We sit down here, we come here, and then we once again say, where is your capital? And I would still say in a village or a mandal headquarters, a Pullur, where I do not have the financial ability to complete it. And then this 1 lakh crores, mind you, is just the basic numbers. 20 years down the line, this 1 lakh crore would probably become 3 lakh crores or 4 lakh crores with interest added to it. So every time we come close, the interest rates once again make sure that 1 lakh becomes 3 lakhs. And we do not have a land bank as the opposition leader Chandrababu Naidu says so. I've asked with the authorities as to how much of land bank we have. Surprising things, surprising information that we've got. Minus the NGT land, the Green Tribunal, according to the norms, whatever land what we are supposed to leave, minus the land that we are supposed to leave because River Conservation Act says, if we were to remove those lands where no construction activity legally is supposed to happen, we're just left with around about 5,200 acres of land. And 5,200 acres of land should give me 1 lakh crores today, or with interest 20 years down the line, if it is 3 lakhs, then this 5,000 should give me 3 lakhs 20 years down the line. So it's 20 crores an acre now, or 5,000 into, probably 3 lakh crores or 4 lakh crores, 90 crores per acre 20 years down the line. So do we have that? Or where do we get that money from? So that was the predicament with which we had to take decisions, what we had to take. And all of them sound very revolutionary. But all what I can say is, I have done everything as a father would do. And since I've been bestowed with this responsibility of being a father to the state of Andhra Pradesh, I've done my fatherly duty to the best of my ability. And thank you for this opportunity. And any of you want to ask anything, I'm there to give you some replies. Any of you, have any queries, any doubts, any issues, you can always ask. No, one second. The mic will come to you. Then you can. Yeah, you go ahead. మీ పేరు ఏం పేరు నా your good name? Yeah, na చెప్పనా.
I'm basically a physician and I'm interested in education also.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much interested in the speech of our Chief Minister. Even though it's not my subject, I came here to attend the meeting to compliment the Chief Minister for the good work which he is doing, and I wish him all success. Now coming to this topic, well, Mr. Chief Minister, your planning is excellent, superb. But the execution also, you have given us the plan. In 4 years, you are going to complete it. But will it become real? Or will it become like the plan of my ex-chief minister? I'm sorry, I'm quoting him. Because our ex-chief minister also gave so many promises when he assumed the office. But after the course of the completion of his term, we have seen what is happening. Now we are back to square one. Now will it be like that? I don't wish to be like that. I wish that your project is executed. Thank you very much. I would like to know the concrete measures. See, you have given about the financial estimation also for the project. Are you ready with that? Or are you waiting for any grant from any other source? Thank you.
No, as I've said earlier, the decision to shift originates from the fact that we do not have the funds. Decision to shift originates from the fact that that is less expensive. That takes only 10% of 1 lakh crores. So the very fact that I do not want to mislead people, I do not want to show graphics, I do not want to show Bahubali graphics or Singapore city or Japan, or one of the Japanese cities. I do not want to show those graphics, and I do not want to mislead anybody by doing so. I'm just saying the mere facts. This is reality. We do not have that kind of funds. And if order of priority were to be drawn on, where do we stand? See, today I was discussing the other day the plight of water in drought-prone areas. You know, the situation currently is we've seen good amount of rainfall this year. Yet, in Rayalaseema area, 6 districts, 4 districts of Rayalaseema and Prakasam and Nellore, we've seen a situation where dams are not filled up, where the carrying capacity of the canals, the water carrying capacity in the canals, it's not there. R&R issues are there. To make sure that these dams are filled up, to make sure that these carrying capacities of the canals are in line with the dams to be filled up, the drought mitigation package, what engineers have arrived at, is a 33,000 crore package. Uttarandhra Sujal Shravanti, the districts of Vizag, Vijayanagaram, Srikakulam, where Polavaram canal needs to be taken up to Srikakulam. It requires 16,000 crores. So where do I draw priorities? The existing ongoing projects, what have been taken up for decades, since my dad, when my dad was the chief minister, projects what have been started, to as late as the previous chief minister Chandrababu Naidu left incomplete. To complete those projects, we require another 25,000 crores. Where do I draw my priorities? Krishna is in a situation where water is not assured. The quantum of water reaching Srisailam, that is the first point of Krishna waters reaching Andhra Pradesh. 47 years of CWC records say 1200 TMC of water reaches Srisailam. But the same CWC records if we were to take 10 years, last 10 years records, they say the water is dwindled from 1200 TMC to 600 TMC. And if the very same CWC records were to be taken into cognizance for the past 5 years, the quantum of water has further depleted to 400 TMC. This is reality. So on one side we have Krishna, the entire Krishna eye cut in a question mark, which affects not only 6 districts there, but also Guntur and Krishna and also certain part of West Godavari as well. Entire Krishna eye cut is in a question mark. While we have Godavari on the other side, what floods, where 3000 TMC of water go into the sea. The only recourse, because we are an agrarian economy, 62% of our population survives only on agriculture. And the only recourse is to divert Godavari waters into Krishna. And according to those reports, when I asked the engineers to prepare, one report they said 68,000 crores is required. I said it's too expensive. Come out with a better solution, a cheaper model, a faster model. Then they're trying to work out another model, what probably might cost another 45,000 or 50,000 crores. So what are my priorities? Where do I draw my priorities? Do I have the money to do all of them and also do all this? Housing for the poor. The number of people who do not have houses, this year we're going to make sure that everybody gets a house patta. And approximately 25 lakh house pattas we're distributing this Ugadi. Now all these people are given house pattas. These people do not even have houses that they can live in. If we were to target at least out of this 25 lakhs to construct to them houses in 4 years' time, it would be at least 6 lakh houses per annum. And 6 lakhs into 1.5 lakh is approximately 9,000 crores per annum. So we're talking about another 40,000 crores. So where do I prioritize? Do I have the money to do this, to do all this and also do that? I do not have that kind of liberty or flexibility with me. So that is why we've taken the best city in Andhra Pradesh, the already developed city in Andhra Pradesh, and trying to give it a fillip so that it elevates to a next level. That's what we're trying to do.
May I now ask a question?
Yeah.
You're giving the highest priority to education. Would you like to tell us a little bit about teachers training? That's going to be the hard bit to get them over this 4-year period and beyond also.
I think this question I leave my minister, my colleague.
In the panel discussion.
No, because the background of him is, he's an IRS. He's from Indian Revenue Service. Railway Service or Revenue Service? Revenue Service. This is the level what we talk, IAS, IPS, IRS. And my colleague is from a background of IRS. He took a VRS, voluntary retirement, and then he joined politics. And he's from the aspirational community. He's a Dalit. The aspirational community what actually wants this change to take place. And we've made him the education minister so that he could lead from the front this change that we want to bring about.
Thank you.
And these technical issues, because what we're doing currently in making sure that teachers are trained, there's a huge curriculum drawn out. There's a training curriculum where 13 districts, initially every district we train 2 people, 20 people, 13 districts into 20 people, 260 people initially. Where is Vetri? Yeah, my Vetri. She's our young IAS officer, Vetri Selvan. And she is here to, she is spearheading this campaign program. She is involved in the curriculum part. Curriculum meaning not only evolving the curriculum, but also training of teachers and also the bridge courses for the children. So it involves two things. One is the bridge courses for the children. The second is the second part is the training curriculum for the teachers. So on both these issues, she is the one who is in charge. So I'll have her actually address those doubts any of you have on that particular context, because she would be a better judge. She would be a better person than me to give you the nitty-gritties and give you the detailing part of it. And you want it right away, she can do it. She can take over.
There's just 1 minute. It is a very lucid presentation of the case for change. And I can't see any flaw, can you, in this argument that is put forward on this part, but set in broader context. So one final question to the Chief Minister, if you have the time. Why he spoke about the other things and why I requested is they're all linked. The priority given to excellence in education, a complete makeover, what he calls the revolutionization of the educational situation, can't be seen in isolation from everything else, including the resource crunch and so on, the capital issue. But I just want to ask you about this reverse tendering, because we are in the news business.
Okay.
In some way that is also linked, because that is going to, you told me when I called on you last time that you hope to save 15 to 20% on all major projects. And what's the initial experience?
Sorry, this was also one of the discussions what both of us had. First time in the country, we brought about a change in the way governance is done to root out corruption from the bottom. The first time in the country, we've laid guidelines where the country would follow. We made sure that every contract initially goes to a judge before it goes for a tendering process. There is an act what is constituted to look into this. It's called Judicial Preview Act. There's a judge there. Anything what the government is desirous of going for a contract, anything above 100 crores, goes to the judge. Then the judge puts this up in a public domain for 7 days. Anybody, even our critics, are given the freedom to suggest to the judge to make any kind of changes whatsoever they deem fit, so as to make changes in the contractual terms. In that public domain, for 7 days it is put, anybody could make those changes, because most of the scams usually take place because the contracts are made tailor-made to suit a few people beforehand. So to avoid that, we made sure that the judge sits down there, heads that preview commission, he puts it up in public domain, and he takes opinions from everybody whomsoever wants to give. Then in his own wisdom, after he takes opinion, he makes the requisite changes to the contract documents in discussion with the department. After that, it goes for tendering. And after it goes for tendering, people who quote in the tender process, whomsoever quotes L1, the lowest, without mentioning his name, the name of the firm or name of the company, the amount is displayed. Next day the auction takes place. So everybody who participated in the tender, who scratched their head and think, I could have quoted less, are now given the option to compete in the reverse tendering process. Every 15 minutes the number changes and they are competing. So this is what we've done. In fact, what this actually had done in these 7 months' time, some of the contracts what were earlier awarded by the previous government, what reeked of corruption, we cancelled them. We went for this reverse tendering. And in these 7 months, almost 2,000 crores of money was literally saved. Meaning, this 2,000 crores was earlier the number what the tender was loaded with. Since we cancelled the tender, since we went for reverse tendering, the very same work what was awarded at X rate has now become X minus this rate. If we would have not gone for reverse tendering and not cancelled these works, we would have had to pay this 2,000 crores extra to the same contractors to execute the same work. Now, with this reverse tendering coming into the picture, since there is nobody to ask them bribes, close to 2,000 crores is literally being saved in various works. To give an example, I'll give you a TIDCO. This is for housing for weaker section. This was earlier quoted at 2,700 crores or so. Now the same works what have cancelled and what have come now have come at 2,300 crores. This is TIDCO. Polavaram versus earlier contract versus now the reverse tendering, after reverse tendering, 830 crores saving. Rather than the rates to go up, rates have come down. So is the case with so many things what have been happening. Almost close to 2,000 crores have been saved. And now this has become the model for the state. Any tender now what is to be tendered goes through this process, and I am very confident that this will soon catch up for the entire country, where transparency is to a different level.
May I thank the Honorable Chief Minister for spending time here, giving us a very clear and candid look at what